Hi there, you're watching Gardens and Graveyards, and today we're in the backyard and we just have a bunch of small tasks that need to be done. We're really focused on really big projects right now, but it's easy to let the small things get away from you, especially when you have an extra wet spring. And so we basically have only been getting nice weather like every other day or every 4 or 5 days, and I just feel like this area in the garden has kind of gotten away from me. So we're going to be doing some weeding and fertilizing and deadheading and trellising and reseeding and just a whole bunch of other whatever else I see that needs to go on in the garden, and we're going to bring you along with us. So I've gathered up some seeds and some dahlia tubers that I still want to get planted out into the garden. So mostly a bunch of sunflowers and some hollyhocks, a little bit of corn, some pickling cucumbers, chamomile, and I have zinnias and cosmos and more sunflowers to plant out. So I've shared how to plant dahlias before. You could check the link below if you want a more detailed description. But basically we're going to just plant them right here with these ones that have already sprouted. I've already done one seeding of the hollyhock. You could see little sprouts there. But I'm going to do another ring in this corner of hollyhocks. Now hollyhocks are biennials, so the plants will come up this year and they will most likely not bloom until next summer. So these plants will have to stay in here for a couple of years before you actually get to see some fun results. I want this area to look like a cottage garden, so I'm not worried about perfect spacing, and if a bunch of seedlings come up too close together, I can always thin them out. These seeds only need to go in about 1/2 inch, so I really just give a little divot in the soil, drop the seeds, and do a little zhuzh over the top, and they're good to go. The next seeds that I'm going to reseed in this area are the cosmos, and these ones are going to go right up next to the hollyhocks in a big drift, because I want to just have like really good impact, but I also kind of want them to intermingle. Again, these seeds only need to go in about 1/2 inch, so I'm just scratching up the surface to sprinkle them in there, and then I'll just dust the soil over the top. You can see the seeds are pretty tiny in there. Sometimes I feel weak, I can't move my. Now I can get to fertilizing. I use the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer on my annuals. Typically all the flowering annuals and vegetables. I'm excited to see these super petunias starting to bloom, and now is the perfect time to start fertilizing them, obviously. But I go ahead and fertilize this whole pot with all the other annuals, as well as the few cucumber seeds that I planted today because they needed to be watered in too. Okay, so it's the next day and I'm gonna continue working on the theme garden and just a few other little tasks around the garden that I need to get done. We had a lot more weeds going on than I was expecting, so we spent a lot more time in the garden weeding last night than I thought that I'd be doing. So I didn't get to everything that I wanted to get done, and then of course the day got away from me and I had to go make dinner and all that good stuff. So it's late afternoon and it's kind of threatening to rain, so we'll see what we get done today. But I need to put some labels out and string up my raspberries, and I don't know, just some miscellaneous things that I need to get done. So I'll just keep bringing you along with me, since all we really got done yesterday was weeding, and that's not a very fun video to see. But sometimes gardening is just like that, right? We're just like wandering through the garden, seeing what needs to be done, and it's just a string of a bunch of small tasks that can be done quickly, but they add up because we think, oh, well, that's so quick, I'll get that done later. And then the next thing you know, you have a big list of things to do. So I'm going to knock some of those things off my list today. But as I go around, you may hear it in the background right now. You'll notice that Spencer is mowing right next to the theme garden. So we use an electric mower, so it's not super loud, but it is, there's noise. And you'll notice that he's mowing. I'll see if I could get him in the background here. See? Okay, so here's my work wagon from yesterday, and I got all of my fertilizing done, so I can take this guy out of there. Although, look, my spout came off, so I'm gonna have to actually put this up on the bench, and we can glue it back together. So this piece just goes on to the spout, like so, but this piece should snap onto here, and it keeps falling off, and it fell into the mud, you can see. So I'll clean it off and glue it on. So that's a little task that needs to be done. And I ran out of my water-soluble Proven Winners plant food yesterday. Well, not completely, because I have more buckets in the back. But that one's empty. I put Slug Magic out on the hosta in the back, because that's the only one that I'm using the Slug Magic on this year. And this is going to be a whole other project that we're going to do in the next couple of days. These are stackable bins, and we'll take you on that process when we finish it. But I need to do a little measuring and see if it fits where I want it to go. So I'm going to keep that out. Let's see, what else do I have in here? This is going to go in the front yard. These need to go in the backyard. I think I'm going to plant these with those. So I'm going to plant these things and label those. And I don't need this. I fertilized my camellia yesterday with the rose tone. So I think I'm going to start with planting and labeling some things, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so I want to see if this container will fit right here, which it will. So that's perfect. I'm just going to move that. So we used to do like a cute spiller thing, but then I built this raspberry trellis right here, and that's kind of useless this year. So we'll take that out and build this right there. That'll be perfect. And I could have, because right now I have strawberries right here, and they're looking pretty good this year, but I want to get them up off of the ground. I don't want to grow them on the ground anymore. So, task 1 done. It's just really like, I wanted to check that out. Then I have these labels, and they know that these labels aren't going to last for very long. So I'm actually kind of doing an experiment. I'd like to see which ones last longer, the laminated labels or not. Let's see, this one's not coming up yet, so I don't know if I lost him. I've got the netty over here. It's out. Just put it right here so you can see from the front, and then look how beautiful that dahlia is looking. Fantastic! Okay, so as far as this themed garden goes, that's kind of it. I planted a few more dahlias in here, the same varieties, just I had extras and I didn't know what to do with them, so I just planted them all together. I wove some of these peas in this trellis and this trellis into their spaces because they were just kind of getting wild. And then I weeded this out and got rid of any like old dead foliage, and then I added more hollyhock seeds, more cosmos seeds, and more zinnias. And the zinnias that I planted up in the house and planted quite a few videos ago, they didn't make it, but you can see, I think maybe 1 or 2 did, like these ones. And then I've got a bunch coming up from the first seeding, so I did a second seeding, or maybe that's considered a third now. And then we weeded all of this out, and I harvested my rhubarb for the first harvest this year, and we added some soil into the potato container over there. And again, in this area, we just got rid of some of the old foliage and helped the sweet peas climb those vines, or sweet pea vines climb the trellis a little bit. And hopefully now with all that old foliage out of there, those plants will have a little bit more sun. And then I lost 2 cucumbers in here, so I planted 2 more cucumber seeds. These irises are absolutely gorgeous. Like, gorgeous. I love how dark the, like, brand new foliage is. It's so pretty. I planted white and purple alliums in here, so the purple came up, and then the alliums are these large heads, but they're so short. They're like 4 inches tall. It's so cute. You can see them all over the place. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm in the moon garden, and I'm going to plant 2 different varieties of chamomile in the beds that we just moved over here. So one is the Roman chamomile and one is the Dyer's chamomile. And the difference is one is a herbaceous perennial, 16 inches tall, sun to part shade. And then one is a creeping, the Roman is a creeping perennial. And it gets 2 feet tall, which is a little bit taller. And also sun to part shade. Anyways, I just want to see what the difference is because I keep growing one or the other and one or the other, and I keep forgetting which one I like better. So I'm just going to distinctly grow one in one and one in the other. Wow. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to go alphabetical so I don't forget which one is which. I'm going to do the Dyers in this one and the Roman in this one. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm looking at this soil and I'm realizing that I'm going to need a layer of compost because these seeds are really tiny and fine. So I just want them to have like the best chance of survival. Just gonna make this as even as I can. And be back with soil. You should be very glad you can't smell through cameras because this compost is stinky. It's a little too wet in that bag. It'll be fine. It's just quite organic smelling. I'm also going to put in some calendula seeds that I've saved over the years. I seed it pretty thickly. I have plenty to spare. And these seeds are a few years old, so make sure that they take So it's recommended that you mix calendula seeds with sand to have a bigger distribution because the seeds are so tiny. I don't have any sand, so we're just gonna sprinkle them over the surface. You just surface so chamomile seeds. And then you just press them into the soil. I don't know if you can see how tiny they are. Pretty tiny.
The minute I put fucking pressure on it, it broke. The minute I put pressure on it, it broke.
Yeah. You might have to put like a piece of tape on it.
I know, total. We acted over. That was so really.
Okay, so we're actually gonna get to the strawberry tower today, and we're gonna put it right over there. We've never built one of these before, so bear with us. Here we go.
Ground so soft. This ground is so soft. Okay. I don't know.
Well, we don't get very much wind right there, so it's just about stabilizing it a little bit. How far do you think it went in? Like 6 inches?
Probably. Yeah, 8 inches. The first 4 or 5 inches is done with sand. I have to get a longer piece of rebar.
That should probably be fine.
Okay. Load it up.
While these containers are designed to stack one on top of another, they are not super strong, super sturdy. These are stackable planters that I found at the Dollar Tree for $1 each. And the plastic is quite thin, possibly thinner than other stackable planters. I have not compared them, but I've heard great things about them, and I don't see why they wouldn't work just as well as other brands. But we did see a tutorial on YouTube, actually a few, where people put T-posts or some kind of staking system in them. And so we decided to take that advice, and we pounded some rebar into the ground, not in concrete or anything like that. We just hammered it into the ground until it felt stable, and then we stacked the planters on them. What we did is we drilled a hole in the middle, which these planters have prefabricated forms to push out for drainage, but they didn't have a middle hole. So we drilled that out so that we could easily put them on top of this rebar. And the idea is that we could stack a lot more than just 2 or 3 and still have stability. Now this is an area that doesn't catch very much wind, so we're not terribly worried about it. And the top, like, I think 4 didn't have any rebar going through them. So we'll see how they go, and if we have to unstack them at any point, it won't be that big of a deal. I bought Whopper strawberry from Parks Seed, and they get 6 inches tall. They're bare root, so they came in a big giant mass. Just put one of those in there. And I'm trying not to get stabbed by the raspberry. They just came in this big mass like this. So we're gonna carefully, well, take off the rubber band. Okay. And we'll plant this. Down here, this is weird. So the instructions said to soak these root balls in water for 2 days before planting. So they had been pre-soaking, and I knew I needed to get this tower built and get the strawberries planted, and I thought it was going to happen in another day, and which would mean the strawberries would be soaking an additional day, but it worked out perfectly, and planting them today means that they got planted under the strawberry moon, which is perfectly fitting, right? I did take off these slimy pieces. This is like last year's growth. And this was basically the umbilical cord to the mother plant, which we don't really need anymore. My order was for 20 bare root strawberry plants, and they sent me about 25 or 26, and 19 of them were definitely valid plants with roots and growth. And then there was one a little bit questionable that I planted anyways, but the other ones were definitely too rotten to plant. But I think that's why they send you an additional 5 or 6 on top of the ones that you actually order, which is very kind, I think. 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 19. Okay. This.
How do you think you tie one in around there, around the thing down there? And just string it through and keep
Tie it
stringing.
down here
Yeah.
and then bring it up.
The next task for the day was to get these raspberry plants strung, and maybe I could have done that before I built the strawberry tower so they weren't in my way. But I was excited to get the tower done, and these raspberries are still babies, so it's not that big of a deal. I just needed to get them, basically get a trellising system up for the raspberries so that they're easier to maintain and harvest.
There you go, nice. Nice. Tie that off.
Down further. Sharper down at the end. I might have to do another one up higher. Maybe not yet.
No, because when it gets taller, we'll just pull it onto this side. Okay.
That was me, and then I didn't.
And then when this gets taller, we'll just pull it over here. There you go. Like that.
So you can see that we basically just use cotton string doubled up on each eye bolt, and we have them there so that the raspberry shrubs can be tied up onto them, and it's just a little bit easier to maintain that way.
Oh, that garden looks so much nicer. It's all
Really
de-weeded.
yeah.
It looks beautiful, and I love the little strawberry tower way back there.
I like it.
I love how it's tucked in there, but you can see it. It's gonna get tons of sun right there. It'll be perfect. It's very cottage gardeny,
Right.
especially with the naturalized Shasta daisies and foxglove in there,
Right.
and columbine.
Yeah.
Fun. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me while I garden today. I hope you enjoyed it and you got something out of it. Just to know that, you know, even no matter how organized we are, things get away from us, and it's okay. We just pick up where we are and move forward and do the things that we love most. And sometimes, even though weeding isn't my favorite thing to do, it is my favorite thing to see how beautiful the garden ends up looking. So it's worth it, right? I'm really happy with what we got done in the last couple of days, because now I feel like I could focus on some projects that I really want to get into. And I can't wait to bring you along for those. Until the next time, keep celebrating life, because it's the only one we got, and it's worth celebrating. Bye!